Hello there everyone, welcome back, and I'm here to be talking about Alita, Battle Angel. Now, Alita Battle Angel is the long anticipated film that is based off the manga that some people have read and enjoy. I've never really heard of this, but when I first saw the trailer I was like, huh. And I didn't really think that much about it, but it kept getting delayed because the trailer I think was released well over a year ago. It was supposed to come out like in December, I believe, but it was pushed back due to the crowded window, and it took the February release date that X-Men Dark Phoenix was originally supposed to have, because as you see with Fox, they're having a shakeup as they're about to be officially owned by Disney, so they're shaking around all their release schedules on which film goes where. And so here we have Alita Battle Angel taking the February slot, which doesn't really feel like a Valentine's Day movie per se, but here we are. And it takes place like hundreds of years into the future, and it's after this great event where civilization is kind of screwed, where you have the earth dwellers, basically they live in like scrap yards and stuff, and you have the rich and fancy people that live in the thing up above that a lot of people on the floor want to try to get to because it's so pretty and it's, you know, so nice. But I mean, you never really get to see it, but that's what everyone thinks it is and stuff. And you have this doctor that finds parts of this girl that he creates, and it turns out that she has a past and she's like hundreds of years old. And throughout the film she learns that she's like a really great fighter and stuff, and it's basically like I wouldn't really say coming of age, but it's basically like her finding herself throughout the film while also meeting all these colorful casts of robots and cyborgs and other humans and stuff. And when I first saw the reviews come out, it was kind of mixed, which when watching the film I could see why, but I actually really enjoyed this film. I thought how just grand it really was, and not a lot of people are really giving it credit for that, because I mean, while the narrative isn't as strong per se, there's lots of cliche stuff in there. Like there's lots of funny moments in there. Some of the acting, like from the main actress, like I know it must be tricky to pull off the effects done on her, because I mean it's obvious that she has like some effects, you know, because she's a cyborg and all, but some of the lines that she's given and how she performs some of it is pretty cheesy. But I'm able to work with this because this is a really goofy kind of setup for a movie. But I think overall it's done really well. I was really entertained and I was getting really invested. There's like some really great setup. Like when I first saw the movie's 2.5 hours long, I was like, oh my gosh. But it doesn't really waste that much time. I mean, there's some scenes that you could probably cut to lower it a little, but there's lots of great build up to the world, the environment that you're in, and she has lots of great setup, and you see her journey, and it's really pays off by the end of the film as well. Now, speaking of the ending, no spoilers, but how it ends, it's obvious that this is supposed to be like a sequel setup, and there's going to be more. Well, there was supposed to be more, but I heard the film cost like at least $200 million, and it's not projected to make a lot of money in its opening weekend, so that's not good. But I mean, as a film on its own, a lot of the stuff is great, but it keeps looking towards what's up in that city up in the sky and this main villain who's called Nova. But you never really get a payoff to any of that, because they're supposed to be like, there's villains in this film, like Mahershala Ali's character and Jennifer Connelly and these cyborg kind of characters, and there's characters like that are the villains throughout the film, but the main villain's like Nova, but you see him for less than like 5 minutes really, and it's really supposed to be a sequel setup. But like, I think the film falters because of all the build towards that climax, you know. But we probably won't be getting any more movies if this tanks, which it might, because it's projected to not make that much money, and it has mixed reception, so it might not. So I don't know. I mean, it feels kind of disappointing when there could be more to the story, and it's not a complete story on its own, unfortunately. I mean, there's lots of good moments in there. There's some mini side plots that are paid off here, that are began, but the overall story feels incomplete. It's like with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. If the first one, God forbid, if it bombed and it wasn't, you know, as great as it was, we wouldn't get part 2 and 3. So while I might have enjoyed that, it would have been useless without the 2 other parts. So that's kind of what this feels like. So unfortunately, I have to downgrade it a little bit on that aspect. But overall, I thought this was a fun ride. The visuals, again, really great. The world, I was really getting hooked into it. I would love to see another one, but who knows if it'll people would see it. I mean, I recommend go see it. Maybe it can have legs if it doesn't open that high, and maybe under Disney they'll be like, maybe we could salvage this and make the sequel, and it could just be under Disney and they could continue on with it, because I could see some potential here to make a better movie. But overall, I thought this was a pretty good start, like really solid. Some little narrative bumps, a waste of Mahershala Ali and Jennifer Connelly. Like, those characters were wasted, like useless. And there's like this one cyborg guy that keeps like, I'm gonna fight you. Doesn't really do anything. It's just like maybe like one or two parts does something, but the rest not so much. And then there's this other rogue hunter person, and it's, you know, side stuff like that. But I was getting real invested, and there's some tear-jerking moments. I was like, I wasn't really crying per se, but I can understand. I'm like, okay. And the music was really good. Like I said, what really sells me is this world that they created. And I could tell, I'm pretty sure fans of the manga probably love this film. Unless it may have left out some stuff they liked, and they probably didn't like it as much. But I could see them liking the attempt. And this is probably like would this be anime based technically? I'd say it's probably the best live action anime type of thing that I've seen, and probably that has been made. I mean, a lot of them have been trash, like the Dragon Ball Evolution or Ghost in the Shell. Like, a lot of that's been garbage. So this is probably by default the best one. But with all that said, those are my thoughts on Alita, Battle Angel. So what do y'all think of the film? I would really like to know what you guys thought on the film. Thank you all for watching. If you want to hit the subscribe button so you can get more content when I upload, that'd be great. And also hit the bell so you know. Like I said, if you want to comment down below, that'll be great so we can talk about the film. And also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Sora Sable or @SableSora. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.